welcome back to our second podcast in our Awards Chatter series. Today we're talking about last night's Golden Globes. So far this year, the awards race has been largely agreed upon as being chaotic, and I'm not sure that the Globes did anything to really prove otherwise. They were in an absolute mess from the beginning, gagged by Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill falling flat, and, Channing Tatum forgetting the announce card on his table. To the very odd support of Mozart in the Jungle, the inclusion of Mel Gibson, the rushed censorship to just awkward and lazy staging. It was just a mess. However, there were some high points too. But I think to start it off, we should start on the low end of the scale so that we end on more of an optimistic note. So, Evan, if you want to say what your least favorite
But I'm
part
so cynical all the time anyway.
I know, but we'll generate good spirits as the podcast goes on.
All right. Well, my least favorite moment.
Win, what have you.
Least favorite win. I gotta go with Jennifer Lawrence because evidently Joy was, I've heard, terrible. I think David O. Ruffle is a hack as a director, even though maybe he can have his moments as a writer. I think he's largely been shown that he can't direct, and I thought that the moment between Jennifer Lawrence and him when she was accepting the award, kind of creepy, honestly, really creepy, and it's kind of turned me off of her completely.
Yeah. Did anybody else think about what Lily Tomlin must be thinking as she won and was praising David O. Russell after? I don't know if any of you have seen the I Heart Huckabees behind the scenes where he is screaming at her and calling her names, and it's a huge thing where people have to leave set, and then she's sitting there losing an award to a girl who's singing his praises. People YouTube it. He's a piece of shit.
Her words specifically were, "I want to be buried next to you."
Yeah, it wasn't a high point.
Oh my God.
You have to wonder.
Well, this is the same director
what?
that got punched by George Clooney, too, on the set of Three Kings.
Yeah, he knocked him out. Nobody likes him except for the newest cast, like Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper, and I think it's just because he keeps getting them nominated. So you can't bite the finger that feeds you.
Yeah, that's why I have no interest in seeing Joy, too, because he just keeps making the same movie almost ever since Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And there's this weird bubbling churning of acid that rises from my stomach every time I think of American Hustle. Or when you spit, take your tea.
My introduction to David O. Russell was The Fighter, which I really liked that movie, mainly because of the performances.
Christian Bale, notably.
Yeah. And then since then, and I'm a big Marky Mark fan of his work in general. I don't know, something about him I find charismatic. But other than that, I can't say that I've really, I thought Silver Linings Playbook was fine. I thought American Hustle was fine. And yeah, I haven't seen Joy. I don't know that I'll rush out and see it, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the theaters are really expecting people to, because the showtimes for it are just dwindling anyway.
I think it actually did a good job, but that's because I think of Jennifer Lawrence's star power more than really anything else. But was that your low point then, Jose?
My low point. Well, I would say my least favorite win is maybe, I think I wrote down The Writing's on the Wall, because I thought that's the most boring song.
Yeah.
I don't know. Especially for a James Bond song, it feels like a song that's building to something and builds to nothing. And look, we have a lot of we have a lot of people on the site that write very, very well about music, and I'm not one of those people. But that song just really does nothing for me.
It's probably not the worst Bond songs there is.
And I'm just
but at least one for that to win, though. That's another story.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty weak category, to be honest.
Brian Wilson was up for
except for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, nobody seemed to like Youth, but I did. So I thought I would have been okay if that the Simple song would have won or something, but I don't think that ever stood a chance. So it's not like I was really counting on it.
With the way the night was going, I was hoping for a random Fast and Furious win, just to make things interesting, and I would have been okay with that.
I'm surprised they didn't, just because of the like story and message.
Yeah, Paul Walker and everything. But yeah, I think for me that was at least I thought everybody was gonna say Lady Gaga, but I think that felt so obvious that I was like, I'll zag and hit Sam Smith. He's a fantastic singer. I don't know. The song does nothing for me, and I think that's
Tyler, what about you?
Oh, where to begin? I mean, I could pick out one of many from last night. It's not even funny, but Jose, I agree with you a lot. The Sam Smith one definitely got to me because that song was as mediocre as Spectre itself, at least for my point of view. I think worse was every award that Fargo ended up losing on to some show that pretty much, I'm sure, only 5 total viewers of the Golden Globes actually knew about. And I just loved the second season of Fargo so much. It found its identity of its own after pretty much taking everything the Coen Brothers movie did right and pretty much putting it into a 10-hour movie almost. But then for just Wolf Hall and like these other series to just come out of the blue, and I would say the Lady Gaga winning the actress award for American Horror Story Hotel, that got to me more than anything else. I mean, I have like stopped caring about American Horror Story for the last like 2.5 seasons or so, and for her to win over Kirsten Dunst, who was fantastic. I mean, I haven't seen her in that great of a role in a while. For her to just lose to something like that, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it plays it as a joke almost for her to go on stage and like compare herself to Cher, and like. Just kind of sit there and like give a better performance accepting the award than she did in the show. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I think.
Did any of you see the GIF that came along of Leonardo DiCaprio reacting to bumping past? I'd say that was actually one of the top 5 moments of the show.
I know.
Not the photo of him with Oscar Isaac and the caption he finally got his Oscar. That was last year?
That was last year.
Well, it may as well have been this year because now people actually know who Oscar Isaac is.
I always knew.
There you go.
But
I meant people as in you people.
Yeah. Not super fans. I want to talk about my least favorite really quick. And then if people have others that they're thinking of, they should join in. But The Revenant winning is bullshit.
Okay, can I make an aside?
I got into it.
Inuyuritu winning also is bullshit.
Okay, thank you. Because like putting my personal feelings aside about how much I dislike the movie and dislike Inuyuritu as a whole, as a director, really, because even Birdman's kind of fallen out of my favor over the last year. But it just kind of seemed like a makeup award. They're like, oh, we totally relate to the punch last year and not awarding him for Birdman. Let's do it this year. And I don't think that The Revenant's that great of a movie. I certainly don't think it's as good as things like Carol and Spotlight and Mad Max. And it just seemed, more than anything, it seemed kind of like a populist, like, popularity award. You know what I mean? Like
the director or the best picture?
Both. I really don't think either of them deserved it. And it also aired really late into voting, so it kind of seems like it might have been a lot of, like, again,
recency.
A lot of, like, good faith and, like, they paid it off or something like that.
And also, Leonardo DiCaprio bringing up, like, it's a movie for indigenous people.
He's always going to bring up his acting.
It's like the only one in the movie gets raped and killed. Or, no, there's 2. And one is, I don't care if I'm spoiling this for people.
One woman's left stranded.
A woman's raped, and the other, somebody's killed. And so I don't see how The Revenant, a story about white man pain, did anything to help the cause.
Well, no, it's a story about a man who survived a bear.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is he's warping the narrative in the same way that their narrative for this movie has been, we survived pain, and it's like, you guys are actors, okay? Like, you're not out there.
Well, hold up, he suffered for his art. Leo is a vegetarian and was forced to eat both fish and raw bison liver.
But the thing is, none of that should matter in terms of a movie and how good it is. You watch a movie for the experience, not to learn about how
it was an experience, all right. I felt like I survived.
But so was Mad Max. Mad Max was probably just as difficult to shoot.
May I?
Yeah.
Yes. For all of the praise that The Revenant is getting, all the struggle, all like the practical stuff, the real setting, Mad Max did that in the complete opposite kind of environment, and they're giving all the love to The Revenant because it just came out. It's super art housey. And they don't want to give it to a genre film because George Miller deserves the director award.
And because the show and because the creators behind the movie won't shut the hell up about it either. Every single soundbite is about how they survived the wilderness. So, like, there's that. Again, there's the fact that I think the movie is one of the most meandering 2.5-hour movies I've ever seen in my life with absolutely no purpose. It's not Leonardo DiCaprio's best movie he's ever done. So it just seems like a lot of, like, well, we might as well give it now, since we didn't before. But that's just my opinion. That was easily my least favorite. Lady Gaga at least made me laugh. You know, it was ridiculous, but it made me laugh.
Revenant was pretty.
But yeah.
It was a pretty movie.
So I won't be upset when Emmanuel Lubowski wins, but like everything else, bullshit. But yeah, Carol should have won.
The music was pretty too.
Okay. Did anybody think of something last minute as I just almost teared my hair out?
I think you said it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. I have more, but this would have to be like double the length then that we originally planned.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's give on to the next one then. Just so the Golden Globes don't really impact the Oscars because voting's already done, at least so in terms of nomination. The only thing it really does.
Also, statistic, if I may.
Yeah.
There's only 93 voters in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
Yeah, and they're bought. So there's, but no. It's
compared to 7,000.
Yeah, and they don't really amount to that much. But sorry, 1 second.
Whoops. Go away.
But yeah, so they don't amount to much, except for the fact that maybe they generate a little bit buzz, and more Oscar voters now going forth will see the movie. So people who didn't want to sit through a 2.5-hour slog before will now. But so do we think in this kind of a mess of a season that's been taking place so far that the Golden Globes is going to affect anything going forth? Especially The Big Short, Carol, Spotlight, and Mad Max didn't get any awards last night.
I think the Globes are always so weird. Like I know I always think about the fact that I think wasn't The Tourist nominated for something a couple years ago? Yeah, that's patently ridiculous. But I think, unfortunately, one of the things that the show shows you is how strong, like, a good push can really, for a movie, especially, you were talking about The Revenant, and I think really you can feel the push from everybody behind that movie. And I think that maybe it's starting to show that they can ride that, and if they keep pushing it, they could get some awards in the bigger categories.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I can see Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think it's going to lose any steam, even though I don't think he's the best male performance of the year.
No, most definitely not. I would have been happy to see that go to Fassbender. Can I make an observation? I feel like last night everyone was reacting on Twitter, but I felt I was reacting on my couch. They were kind of making picks for the awards kind of like out of left field. Like they were kind of bizarre. It's like award seasons. It's like that stereotype of they always pick the same thing. It's a musical story about a man who was in Hollywood and then was put in a friggin' Holocaust or something like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like they like the same kinds of movies, and they're trying to take the hipster pick.
Golden Globes have never picked the mainstream picks. Well, because again they're bought. Like there's a lot of Denzel Washington and Brie Larson essentially said as much in their speeches last night, so it's a much different kind of atmosphere. It's much more celebrity pandering, so they're really concerned about the viewers, which is why things like The Tourist got nominated, because then they can guarantee Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, so more people are going to tune in and watch. So I think they always do out of the left field because they want to be the people who are ahead of the curve. And I saw this really good article that essentially said they're kind of like water cooler wins. Like, who's the buzzworthy topic? Like, The Affair isn't the best show ever, but people are going around and being like, oh, I'm watching this show called The Affair. It's really good.
At least it's not The Good Wife.
Yeah, so I think That's why they're so out of left field, which results in some good things, like Gail Garcia Bernal winning anything at all ever is awesome, but it also results in, like, Mozart in the Jungle winning for Best Comedy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a habit that the Globes have had in recent years. It's not just little-known shows or even big ones. They seem to always pander to whichever the breakthrough is, like from the year before the awards happen. I mean, The Affair was the example last year for that, where that was just starting to get steam, and then all of a sudden comes out of left field and wins several awards for drama series, and I think it was actress too. I feel like they're always going towards the new stuff, and I at least admire them for that because it's making shows off of streaming services and even some of the middle cable networks to get some recognition. At the same time, though, it does really go against the kind of trends that they do have of handing out the awards to like the bigger names. And I don't know how long ago that this trend started, and I think it only like epitomized the weird scale for this year.
I feel like right around the writer's strike. I feel like it's when I started noticing it more after that, but I don't know. But yeah, again, you know, hey, if this means that more people watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and it doesn't get canceled,
she sold me on it.
It's fine.
that was a pretty good success story.
Spoilers. That's one of my that was one of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Me too. So we'll get there in a second. But yeah, so I don't know. It was just such a weird show.
It always is.
Yeah. I remember in the
like
chat.
A low production value. I said to Allie,
being unclear.
Like they rented the smallest room.
Yeah. No. It just. I mean. But yeah. No. I mean literally everything. And like certain speeches again were just awkward, and I don't think Jennifer Lawrence is gonna be nominated for Best Actress. So I guess that's something I think that won't happen. But I think the SAGs will be really telling, or I guess Thursday when we get
the nominations.
The nominations, that'll be
really
telling.
We'll freak out even more too.
Yeah, I'm curious because like certain categories like Best Supporting Actor are kind of in an upheaval, and Best Supporting Actress, I guess, is in the same boat. 'Cause nobody knows what to do with Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara, and they're just canceling each other out in the same way that Michael Keaton and Mark Ruffalo might cancel each other out.
And
so
they're kind of ignoring Rachel McAdams entirely.
Well, I don't think any of the actors deserve anything for the movie. I thought it was the movie itself, not the performances. So I'll be totally fine if they don't win. Sure. But I guess we can switch on over to our best parts.
Who wants to go first? Because I'm just gonna get really
Evan,
excited.
just do it.
Okay. Christian Slater winning for Best Supporting Actor in a Drama Series, and Mr. Robot winning for Best Dramatic Series. I was so fucking excited and really confused because it's a show about fighting the system with an award bought for by the system.
Yeah. And Rami Malek still didn't win.
Here's the thing. I wanted him to win, and I knew they were gonna give it to John Hamm because it was the last season of Mad Men. So.
Yep.
You know.
Meh.
Yeah. No. Hey. I agree. Yeah. You know what? But you know what? It's already. It got renewed for a second season the second it aired, so he'll have another shot. So.
Okay. I feel like they won't nominate him for a second season because that kind of goes against their trend of breakouts. But maybe the Emmys will. Yay!
Yeah. Never know. You never know.
Jose, can we gush about our mutual love for Rachel Bloom and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend before I switch on to my highs?
Yes. Well, you and I have been on this CW high for what, a couple years now.
Yeah, we're ahead of the curve, man.
Yes. That and Brie Larson, I think, were probably my favorite wins, with maybe a little bit of Sylvester Stallone. But Rachel Bloom, you know, I think we've talked about how the show likes to hit the breakout stars, the breakout shows, and as much as that can be a good thing and a bad thing, I think the good thing is having people like Gina Rodriguez, Rachel Bloom, shows like Mr. Robot, which are really good and kind of come out of nowhere, and it's nice.
Jose?
He froze.
Yeah.
He might come back.
Okay, well, I'll talk about Rachel Bloom for a second then.
Okay, yeah.
Because Crazy Ex-Girlfriend wouldn't work without her. It's a very high-octane, like, high-conceptualized show, and she grounds it while also bringing this very specific manic energy to the show. And yeah, out of all the people up there, I was totally happy with her winning. I think she's great. I think she gives a performance that is very unlike any other performance I'm watching on TV right now, which lends itself to my big happy win last night was Oscar Isaac winning for Show Me a Hero, which I know beat out Patrick Wilson, but Patrick Wilson did not touch what Oscar Isaac did in Show Me a Hero, which is my...
Well, I will say I haven't seen Show Me a Hero yet, and I'm shocked I haven't because the creator made The Wire my all-time favorite series. Yeah. I mean, I want to watch it like as soon as possible because like I've become such a wild fan of Isaac over the years too. I mean, true story. I almost wrote him off after Robin Hood and Sucker Punch because I actually thought he was really, really bad in both those films.
I forgot how bad he was.
But then Drive came around, and I've been completely sold ever since.
I have my odd thoughts on Sucker Punch that me and Jose also agree on, but that's for another day. But yeah, no,
I think for another day.
Hero is my favorite performance across TV and movies all year. I don't think there was anything like it. I think he subverted a lot of like tropes for that kind of like savior character. And there's a scene in the last episode that like crushed me. That like just stayed with me for weeks. And I don't, he is to me the most interesting contemporary actor working right now. To see him rewarded after he was snubbed for Inside Llewyn Davis and A Most Violent Year in Ex Machina, it's just a thrill to be a fan and to watch it happen. Jose, we cut you off unintentionally because you froze.
Yeah.
So.
No, I figured that out.
I wanted to pick back up.
Blame your webcam, I guess.
No. Well, I'm just gonna echo a lot of what you said. Rachel Bloom. That show is her. That show really does not work with anyone else at the center of it. I think it's very rare that like I come across either a new actress or new creator of anything, and then I immediately I went searching on the internet for like more of her of anything, and then I discovered this like treasure of content on YouTube where she was just kind of like doing all these things where you can see how it all kind of builds up to this crazy show. She's, I don't know, crazy talented. She can do everything. I thought I didn't like the show at first, but I think what it was is she's playing this crazy character that you don't really like, but that you also kind of recognize as like a very real person. And I've become a huge fan of that show. And then just the other people that we've talked about, Oscar Isaac, got to give that guy some love. He's a Hispanic actor. It's amazing to see Hispanic actors coming up and getting way more recognition just in all over the place. And then what was the last thing that I was going to say? Oh, Brie Larson, because I watched Room just kind of out of nowhere.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, that's still my #1 movie from last year, actually.
Yeah, I was on a 12-hour layover in Arizona.
Wow.
And we left the airport to try and, like, find some food, do whatever. We had some time to kill. There was a little indie theater on the street that we were on in Tempe, and they were playing Room. And my brother and I just kind of dipped in there, watched it, were depressed for like an hour, and then went back got on our airplane.
I don't blame you. Airplane.
Yeah, it's a really, really intense movie, and I think between her and Jacob Tremblay, it's two of the best performances the entire year in one movie.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
agree.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, we've kind of talked over you this whole time.
That's all right. At least for a favorite moment that I had, one of them was, of course, seeing Brie Larson win. Like, I did see Carol recently, which I thought was absolutely amazing. I mean, Mara and Blanchett deserve all the recognition that they're getting. And however, I do have to compare it to Larson because she had to go through such a wide variety of emotions in her range for the kind of role that she played, and she absolutely nailed it in every scene. And then also, I had to give my shout out to Rocky Balboa to see Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And I mean, I binged all the Rocky movies before Creed came out. Well, except for the 5th one, because I know you don't have to see that one. Yeah. But otherwise, to see him win and just the fact that he got such a rapturous standing ovation from the rest of the audience too was just so fulfilling to still recognized of how much of an icon he is. I know Stallone has made a huge share of bad movies over his career, but it's Rocky, Copland, and Rambo and so forth, where everyone does remember like the huge contributions that he's made in his career, and just seeing him win that night was without a doubt one of the biggest highlights of his career for sure.
I couldn't believe until I actually saw it how emotional that his role is in Creed. Like, even talking to people that never really watched many Rocky movies before, they found it that way. Mm-hmm. So.
And he didn't even have to overdo it. I mean, he was very subtle in his approach, and I think the fact that he wasn't handling like directing or writing aspects as much, I felt like he had a lot more concentration on the character, which I think was definitely crowding some of the sequels that he did make, with the exception of 2 and Balboa, at least. I mean, 3 and 4 are all over the place, but they're so 80s, I still enjoy them.
Paulie's robot may make an appearance in like a second Creed movie.
Resurrected.
Yep. Any other final thoughts that we got?
I think I got mine all out. Again, I just thought it was a mess. And it was kind of the most boring awards show I've watched in a really long time.
Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, I could barely find like any entertainment out of the show. It was just awkward, and like I think someone in the chat said that there was one award win that was unclear. That's about how I felt about the entire show, really.
I broke out my Knob Creek halfway through and used the last of my eggnog.
Yeah, I just thought...
I should have been there with you then.
I just thought it was a mess, and I stuck through it to the end, and then The Revenant was announced, and I was just like, off. Because I just thought, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. I expect things like the SAGs to be really boring, but I still watch them because I love this stuff, even if I know it's kind of nonsense.
Imagine watching these without Twitter.
Imagine watching these without wine.
I had whiskey instead, so I do.
Tough night. But I don't have anyone.
I was just going to say, who would you guys tap to host next year? Do you guys want to go back to Amy and Tina? Do you guys want to hit, like...
Andy Samberg, yeah!
Yeah, he did a great job in the Emmys.
I think Andy Samberg, or a couple years ago, Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader went on stage and essentially just charmed the pants off me. So they could go and do that if they feel like they have the time and aren't being superstars. But yeah, them or Andy Samberg, or people with stand-up comic experience who don't.
Aziz Ansari, who had maybe the best joke the entire night with his book.
Yeah. I think Aziz Ansari would be great because I think he likes the celebrity lifestyle enough, but also is self-aware enough, so that it wouldn't just come across as drunken rambling for 3 hours for somebody who didn't seem to want to be there. I think it'd be more. I think it'd be more likened to Amy and Tina, which was fun to watch while also cutting.
As long as it's not Amy Schumer and Jennifer Lawrence, because that's not.
Well, it would be the same thing. It would be this cynical, we're too cool for this, but we're still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I don't like. A host should be entertaining and self-aware, and I didn't see that last night.
For once we need an award show that it chooses its host not just based on its star power. We need people who are actual entertainers, even if their name isn't as high on the scale of A-listers and stuff. I feel like that's where we're really going to get more viewers out of too, because as much as it is a popularity party with all these shows, and like you said, Allie, we watch these because it's what we love. I mean, we're all here because we love movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing that the award show's got to get right for the experience to get better is to do a lot more of a thorough search for the host. I mean, the one thing I'm hoping, at least with Chris Rock, who I do think is a good choice for the host for the Oscars this year, I just fear that he's going to be held back at the same time at other people that have hosted in recent years, because we all know the Oscars don't like people to go too over the edge of being non-PC. I mean, that's why Seth MacFarlane's never going to return again.
I think that's when people started having a tighter leash on it. After that.
Yeah, probably.
Show. But yeah, no, I think Chris Rock will be good.
Even though they're kind of going back to the well on it, but that's whatever.
That's what they did with Golden Globes.
Yeah, right,
They don't
exactly.
change that shit up ever.
Yeah, probably the most apt thing that came out of Ricky Gervais's drunken mouth last night was that the best Golden Globes was during the writers' strike when they just read all the names.
No, well, that's my thing. Is the Golden Globes can be a lot of fun. They should ideally be the most fun award show because everybody's drunk. And
everybody's there.
Yeah, so it should be the most fun. And the fact that it was tedious at best was kind of rough. But yes, so those are my thoughts.
Yeah. What we need more of is drunk Johnny Depp, like last year's Hollywood Film Awards. Now that was something.
Oh, when he just like mumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But yeah, so yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it, and that's yeah.
Thanks for tuning in again. We'll probably have some write-up on the site at theyoungfolks.com about the Oscar nominations this Thursday. The Critic Choice Awards are this Saturday, I believe. I have it on my calendar, but I didn't think to check it before I just said it as a fact. So, but it'll be this weekend at some point, so I'm sure our Twitter at TYF Official will be running some kind of commentary on it. So make sure to follow us at The Young Folks for continuing awards coverage.
And it will be continuing forever.
Until like the end of February. Yay.
Great.
Our favorite topic.
Tyler and Jose, thanks for joining us in our solid half-hour ramble about performances.
Yeah,
oh yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
All right. That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Sayonara.